What if I told you that you chose every part of your life before you were even born? The people who raised you, the moments that broke you, the love you found, the love you lost, the pain, the joy, the lessons that never seem to end. None of it is random, and deep down, something in you already knows that. You didn't come here by accident, and the life you've lived has always had a purpose. There's a quiet truth that's been passed down in whispers, in dreams, in moments of intuition and déjà vu. Your soul made a plan, a contract, a sacred agreement before you ever took your first breath in this world. That idea might sound strange, even unbelievable, but if you're watching this, it might also feel familiar, like a memory you've never quite been able to reach. Like something your heart understands even before your mind can catch up. Dolores Cannon, a woman who dedicated over 40 years to exploring consciousness through past life regression, shared something remarkable. She discovered that, under deep hypnosis, people began recalling moments before this lifetime. Moments not in childhood, not even in the womb, but in another place entirely. A place where souls plan their lives. Some called it the spirit realm. Others simply said it felt like home. What they described, over and over in thousands of sessions, was astonishing in its consistency. Before being born, they sat with guides, with teachers, sometimes even with members of their soul group, souls they'd incarnated with many times before. Together, they chose a life path. Not every detail, not every decision, but the blueprint. Major experiences, key relationships, life-shaping events, and most importantly, the lessons their soul needed to grow. You chose this life not to suffer, but to evolve, to expand your soul, to become more of who you already are. Let's pause for a moment. Think back on your life. Not just the highlights or the heartbreaks, but the patterns. The themes that kept showing up, the people you couldn't forget even if they hurt you, the situations that felt strangely familiar, like you were acting out a story you didn't fully write but deeply recognized. These aren't coincidences. These are the echoes of your soul's plan. You may have met someone who felt instantly familiar. You couldn't explain it, but being around them felt like coming home. That's often a sign of a soul connection, someone who has walked beside you in more than one lifetime. Sometimes these are beautiful relationships. Other times they're incredibly difficult, but either way they're meaningful. They were chosen because through those relationships we grow. Through love, through forgiveness, through loss, through boundaries, we remember who we truly are. And yes, sometimes the lessons are hard. In fact, the most powerful ones often are. Before we're born, we don't see life the same way we do here. From the soul's perspective, we don't judge experiences as good or bad. We see them as opportunities. Opportunities to practice compassion, patience, strength, surrender. Opportunities to break old patterns, heal ancestral wounds, free ourselves from fear. So when you chose this life, you chose the experiences that would help your soul become more whole, and you didn't make those choices alone. You were surrounded by love, guidance, wisdom. But once you arrived in this world, once the soul enters the body, we forget. That's part of the plan too. The forgetting allows the remembering to mean something. It allows free will to unfold. It gives you the chance to choose growth, even when it's hard. But some people, they start remembering little by little, not with their mind, but with their heart. And if you've ever wondered, why did I go through that? What was the point of all that pain? You've already begun remembering. You've started to lift the veil. You've opened a door. And once that door opens, your life starts to look different. The regrets you carry might begin to soften. You start to see that even the hardest chapters were sacred, that you didn't fail, you learned. And that learning is the real purpose of life, not perfection, not constant happiness, but evolution. Let's talk about regret for a moment. A lot of people, especially as they grow older, look back and feel like they could have done more, been more, loved more. But what if I told you your soul already knew the whole arc? What if I told you you did exactly what you were meant to? Not perfectly, no, but with courage, with effort, with the best tools you had at the time. You weren't meant to get everything right. You were meant to experience it fully, to feel it, to wrestle with it, to grow through it. And you have, maybe more than you realize. The older we get, the easier it is to see life through the rearview mirror. But from the soul's eye, it's not just about where we've been, but what we became through the journey. You may think your legacy lies in what you built, what you earned, or what you leave behind. But truly, it's in who you became, how you loved, how you rose after you fell. Sometimes we don't see our own impact. We don't recognize the healing our presence brings to others, or how deeply we've touched the lives around us. You could have smiled at a stranger on a dark day and shifted their path forever. You could have raised a child, planted a garden, written a letter that changed someone's heart. The soul celebrates these things. It values them far more than accolades or achievements. And when we reconnect to that truth, we start to live differently, with more grace, more softness, more purpose. Now here's something else Dolores Cannon discovered. In many of her sessions, people would connect with a deeper part of themselves, the part she called the higher self. This wasn't imagination. It was the part of you that never forgets, the part of you that is always connected to divine knowing. When people tapped into this part, something incredible happened. They saw their life with new eyes. They understood the reasons behind their challenges. They forgave others and themselves. And many found peace in places they'd carried pain for decades, because they remembered it was never random. Their soul had a reason for every experience, and yours does too. So if you've lost someone and you're still holding that ache, if you've made decisions you can't forgive yourself for, if you've ever wondered why certain people came into your life and turned it upside down, let this be a moment of gentle truth. You didn't mess up. You didn't ruin anything. Your soul is still guiding you, every step, every stumble, every step forward. Even now, let's go a little deeper. Imagine yourself before you were born. Not in a body, not yet human, but as pure light, pure awareness. You're with guides, wise, loving beings who have known you for eternity. And they show you a life, not a perfect life, but a meaningful one. A life with laughter, yes, but also with loss. A life where you'd have to let go to feel pain, to find strength. And they ask you, are you ready? And you say, yes. I'll go. I'll be human. I'll forget so that I can remember. And that's exactly what you're doing now. You're remembering. You're reconnecting to the deepest truth of who you are. Not just a person with a history, but a soul with a purpose. Some people spend their entire lives asleep to this truth. Others wake up just before they leave this world. And a few wake up in time to change not only how they live, but how they love, how they see, how they feel life. That's where you are now. You're waking up. And maybe that's why life feels more vivid lately, or more emotional. Maybe you've been crying at things you never used to cry about, feeling more sensitive, more reflective. That's your soul's voice becoming louder. It's inviting you into a new kind of awareness, one where you live with purpose, even in the quiet moments, where you forgive not just others, but yourself, where you stop asking, what's wrong with me, and start asking, what is my soul trying to show me? This is sacred territory. This is where healing happens. This is where legacy begins, not as something you leave behind, but as something you radiate now in this life. You see, there's something extraordinary that happens when we reach a certain age, not just physically, but spiritually. The noise of the world quiets just enough for our soul to speak a little louder. And if you've noticed yourself craving solitude, silence, or stillness lately, that's not you retreating. That's your soul stepping forward. It's in this sacred season of life, what some call the second half, or even the final act, that the deepest truths begin to rise. Not just about what happened, but why. Not just about who you were, but who you are becoming. Because your becoming hasn't stopped. Your soul is still unfolding, still expanding, still breathing new life into your being every single day. So let yourself be exactly who you are now, fully. Because who you are now is the most complete version of you yet. And it's beautiful. Thank you for remembering with me. And if you want more videos that help you reconnect with your soul's journey, subscribe to this channel. We're in this together. Your soul chose this life, and you're living it with courage, beauty, and so much love. I see you, and your soul does too.